So we need to consider the domain to figure out whether or not we're going to be plus or minus here. So let's scroll back up and let's look at our domain. So here is our domain right here. It is this. Pi on 2 is less than theta is less than 3 pi on 2. Okay, so let's actually draw this out just to help us out. As you go through and you get more practice with these questions, you of course don't need to be drawing out the unit circle every time. You'll just know what this means. So we can look at this and immediately recognize, hopefully, oh, it's either going to be in the second or third quadrant. But let's just draw our unit circle to give us a bit of a hand here. So let's draw out our unit circle like that. Let's see if I can draw that circle a bit better. That's somewhat better. Okay. So as I said, we know that we're existing between pi on 2 and 3 pi on 2. So my angle is either in this quadrant or this quadrant, right? So that means I'm either in my second quadrant or in my third quadrant. All right, let's now consider a few things. Let's get rid of this and let's consider what I've been told about sine. I've been told that sine of theta is equal to 3 on 5. Here's something important. This 3 on 5 is obviously positive. Okay? Sine is telling me I'm dealing with my y values, so it's a positive y value, so it's going to be up here, isn't it? It's going to be somewhere there. And I'm actually going to draw it over here. So as you can see, this has that same length. So this right here is 3 on 5. What I'm trying to figure out is what my cos is going to be. So that is, I'm trying to figure out what this is. So what is that going to be? This is my cos of theta. Can you appreciate that my cos has to be over here? It can't be over here, can it? Because that wouldn't make any sense, because I know that I need to exist in either my second or third quadrant. So it can't be over here. It must be over here. That's important, because that's telling me that my cos is going to be negative, isn't it? Because here are negative x values. So the fact that my domain is restricted between pi on 2 and 3 pi on 2 means I can't be over here. So let's get rid of that. So that's the important part, realizing that my cos is going to be negative, isn't it? My cos is going to be negative because I'm over here. And now what I'll write is cos is negative. Also, it's quite clear that I'm not going to get an angle down in my third quadrant. It's going to exist in my second quadrant, because when we draw this out now, we know that this right here has a distance of 1, and what we're trying to figure out is the angle. So the angle will be, what color can I use? We'll use black. This is the angle that I'm after. That's the angle that I'm after. But what we care about is cos of theta is being negative. So that's the important part, realizing that cos of theta is going to be negative. That means we can now come down here and say, all right, cos of theta is negative 4 on 5. That's the important thing to realize there, and why you need to consider the domain. And we could even write because cos is neg in second quad. So that's the thinking of what's going behind there. Okay, so there's our answer. We have figured out what cos of theta is equal to, negative 4 on 5. But we're not done yet, because remember, if we just scroll out here for a second, we're not done yet because we also have to figure out what tan of theta is. But that isn't as hard because we've done all the heavy lifting. So let's now come over here and figure out what tan of theta is. I know that tan of theta is just sine of theta over cos of theta. So that means if I know that sine of theta is 3 on 5, and I just figured out that cos of theta is negative 4 on 5, well, I'm just going to divide them. State change flip. Those 5s are going to cancel, which means my answer will be negative 3 on 5. Negative 3 on 4, sorry. So that is my answer. Perfect. So there we go. We got cos of theta, and we got negative 3 on... Cos of theta is equal to negative 4 on 5, and tan of theta is equal to negative 3 on 4. That is the thinking that went behind this question. Hopefully you found this useful.